Zini floated quietly inside her smooth silver ship as it orbited around a small, blue planet. Her large violet eyes scanned the screen in front of her. It showed swirling clouds, blue oceans, green forests, and light sparkling in the dark lands. Below, the planet was called Earth. Zini was not human. She came from a faraway star system known as Velora, where her kind, the Sorellans, lived in peaceful harmony. Sorellans had studied thousands of planets across the galaxy. They were known for their deep knowledge and love of learning. Zini was one of their best researchers, focused on biology. She had been sent to Earth on a quiet mission. The Sorellans had heard about humans and their fast rise in technology. Even though they had short lives and primitive habits, Zini's job was simple: collect samples, study their biology, and report anything interesting. At first, she didn't expect much. Earth was marked as an unimportant world in the great star map. But as her ship approached the planet, Zini felt a small curiosity grow in her heart. There was something different about this place. The colors seemed brighter, the patterns in the clouds danced like music. The more she watched, the more she wondered. Zini pressed a smooth blue button. Her ship became invisible to human eyes, blending perfectly with space. Tiny machines flew out, small as insects, carrying tools to collect air samples, water, soil, and even DNA from various life forms. She called them bio-drones. As the drones spread out, Zini opened her notebook. It was a glowing crystal tablet that she used for research. Begin Earth analysis, she whispered. Today's lot. Zini had studied animals, trees, birds, insects, and even deep-sea life. Everything was beautiful but ordinary. Then she opened the folder labeled Human DNA. At first, it looked like any other living code complex, yes, but nothing surprising. She ran a scan through her ship's main computer. The machine hummed softly, and patterns began to appear on the screen. But as the scan went deeper, strange things started to happen. Zini leaned forward. Her eyes narrowed. This is not normal, she said softly. In most species, DNA was a map. It told the body how to grow, how to heal, and how to survive. But in humans, she found something different: sections that didn't follow normal rules. Some parts of the human code looked like they had been written on purpose. They repeated in perfect rhythm, like a song. Others were shaped like symbols, not seen in any other life on Earth. She ran a second test. The results were the same. She tried a third test, using a deeper scanner with quantum tools. Suddenly, her screen flickered. Lines of code moved too fast for the eye. The ship's lights dimmed slightly. What is this? Zini whispered. It's like the code is hiding something. Her ship had studied over 10,000 intelligent species. None had shown signs of hidden data inside their DNA. Not even the ancient thinkers of Alaris Prime, who could move objects with their minds. Humans were supposed to be young and simple, but this DNA told a different story. Zini stood up from her seat and walked to the center of her ship, where a glowing sphere floated. It held the main memory core. She connected her hand to it and asked, "Search for any record of this pattern in known DNA archives." The sphere flashed. No match found. That answer made her heart beat faster. No match? She repeated. In the entire galactic database? Correct, the ship replied calmly. Zini sat down again. Her thoughts raced. This can't be just evolution, she whispered. This is design. This is the message. Later that night, Earth time, Zini watched Earth turning slowly. Lights sparkled from cities across the continents. She zoomed in on different places, people walking, talking, working, living. They had no idea that their very bodies held secrets. She stared at the face of a young child playing with a ball in a park. Then she watched a group of workers building a house. She saw an old man sitting quietly with his dog. Different lives, different people, but each of them carried the same mysterious code inside them. Zini now had more questions than answers. Who had put this code inside human DNA? Was it an ancient race, now gone? Or was it part of something still alive, still watching? And most importantly, what would happen if the code ever woke up? She wrote in her logbook, humans are not just growing fast. They may be meant to grow. Something sleeps in their cells. Something powerful. Something waiting. As her ship circled Earth, Zini looked out the window. Her hands pressed together. She thought she was just here to collect data. But now, it seemed she had discovered the first clue in a much bigger mystery. The blue planet was not what it seemed, and Zini would not leave until she found the truth. Zini sat in her ship, watching the DNA data of humans over and over. The symbols inside the code still made no sense every time she looked. She found something new, patterns that moved, parts that didn't behave like normal DNA. It was like the code was alive or trying to hide something. The surveillance had seen many strange species across the stars. Some could fly without wings. Others could speak through light. But none had ever hidden messages inside their own genes. Zini walked to the glowing screen in the center of her lab. She took a deep breath and began a deeper scan. This time, she used a multi-layered analysis, something used only for ancient relics or lost alien artifacts. The DNA started to unfold like pages in a book. She saw long chains of letters, but they weren't random. They repeated like poems. She saw curves and angles that looked like writing, but not in any language she knew. I must be missing something, Zini said to herself. She brought in her ship's AI helper, a small floating cube named Naro. Naro, she said, compare this pattern with all known symbols in the galactic archive. The cube blinked and spun quickly, comparing now. No known match found, Naro replied. No match again, Zini whispered. She zoomed in closer to a small part of the DNA, a tiny string, no bigger than a word in a book. When she adjusted the color filters, the pattern turned into a spiral with 4 arms, almost like a galaxy. She paused. That's strange, she said. The same spiral was carved on ancient ruins from a dead planet called Vensari, a place destroyed thousands of years ago. But how could the same shape appear in human DNA? She opened her old research files. The Vensari ruins had warnings written on them. The gate will open when the song is complete. Zini stared at the message. Her heart began to race. Could humans be connected to the Vensari? She asked. She stood up, thinking fast. If the symbols were a message, maybe it wasn't meant to be read. Maybe it was meant to be heard. Later that day, Zini connected the DNA code to a sound converter. It was a rare tool used to turn patterns into music. She had never used it on living genes before. As the machine powered up, the room became quiet, then soft. Tones began to play. The sound was not loud, but clear. It rose and fell gently, like a song from the wind. It was not random. It was beautiful, almost like it had emotion. Zini listened with wide eyes. It's music, she said in awe. She recorded the sound and played it again. The notes stayed the same, no matter how she changed the speed or direction. The song always ended the same way, with a high note that seemed to echo in her mind. Something about it made her feel small and full of wonder at the same time. She wrote in her logbook, "The DNA of humans contains a pattern that forms music. This may not be an accident. It may be a message, a song meant for someone to hear. Perhaps even a key." Zini leaned back in her seat. For the first time, she felt a strange feeling deep inside, fear, but also excitement. What if this message was placed in humans long ago? What if someone, or something, was waiting to hear this song? Midnight, ship orbiting Earth. Zini could not sleep. Her mind kept going back to the spiral, the music, and the old Vensari warnings. She opened a live feed of Earth. Cities shone like stars. Humans walked, laughed, worked, and dreamed, never knowing they were carrying a hidden secret. Inside their bodies, she watched a girl painting on a wall in a small village. Her art showed stars, trees, and strange glowing eyes. Zini noticed that the shapes in the girl's painting matched parts of the DNA pattern. How? Zini whispered. Is it memory or instinct? She began to wonder. Were humans creating art and music because of the hidden code inside them? Was the DNA pushing them gently to build, explore, and imagine? If so, then humans were not just another species. They were something new, a living puzzle waiting to be solved. The next step, Zini knew she needed a full sample from a human, not just a drone collection. She had to study the DNA closely, directly from the source. But there was a risk: surveillance. We're not allowed to make direct contact with primitive species. It could change the natural path of that world. Still, this mystery was too big to ignore. I must be careful, she said. One visit, no harm. She chose a quiet location, a small farming village in a peaceful valley. No cities, no danger. She could take a human sample without being noticed. Zini created a disguise, using light around her to appear like a human woman. Her skin turned soft, her eyes smaller, her voice calm. She wore simple clothes. She looked normal. She stepped into the transport beam and vanished from her ship. Earth, near the farm, night was cool. Stars shone above, and the grass whispered. In the wind, Zini appeared near a wooden fence. In front of her stood a small house, a barn. In a field of vegetables, she saw a young man feeding animals. He had kind eyes, dark hair, and a quiet smile. His name, her scanner told her, was Tomu. Zini walked slowly toward him. Hello, she said softly. Tomu turned. He looked surprised but not afraid. Evening, he said kindly. Are you lost? Zini smiled. Just passing through. I'm a traveler. Tomu nodded. Well, welcome. Not many visitors come here. They talked for a while. Zini asked simple questions. Tomu answered with honesty. He offered her water and food. She politely refused but thanked him. As they shook hands to say goodbye, Zini's small scanner, hidden in her ring, collected a full DNA sample from his skin. But something unexpected happened. The ring glowed briefly. The scanner buzzed. Zini looked down. A pulse of energy had moved through the device. Tomu felt nothing. He simply waved and walked back toward his house. But Zini stood frozen. Her scanner had never reacted like that before. The DNA she just collected from Tomu was stronger than the rest. It was awake. She looked up at the stars, her heart full of questions. Something inside the human race was alive, and it was beginning to stir. Zini stood still for a moment after the handshake. Her scanner, hidden inside her ring, gave off a soft pulse of light that had never happened before. The DNA sample from Tomu, the young man she had just met, was not like the others. It had more energy. It was reacting to something: her presence, the air, or perhaps the stars above. She looked at Tomu, now walking slowly back toward his barn, whistling a peaceful tune. He seemed like a simple farm boy. He wore old boots, worked with animals, and lived a quiet life. But inside him, something unusual was hidden, something powerful. Zini whispered, "What are you, Tomu?" She turned away and walked into the woods, where her small invisible shuttle waited. She entered silently, the door closing behind her. As the shuttle lifted off into the night sky, she didn't look back. Back on the ship, Zini placed the DNA sample from Tomu into her most advanced scanner. The machine hummed gently. Lights moved across the screen. She watched closely, her heart beating faster than usual. The results began to appear. Tomu's DNA had the same symbols and patterns as the others, but deeper inside. Past the usual genetic code, something else existed. A glow, like a light buried under stone. She zoomed in. "What is this?" she whispered. It was a structure, made of light and energy, hidden deep inside the code. It looked like a small star trapped inside the chain of life. Her scanner had never picked up anything like this. Then the lights on her ship flickered for a moment. "Energy surge detected," said the ship's AI voice. Zini stepped back from the DNA. Yes. The sample released a short wave of unknown energy. That was impossible. DNA didn't release energy like this. It carried instructions, but it didn't shine or glow. Zini sat down. She stared at the data on her screen. A shape was forming, a pattern that looked like a key. She pressed her hand to the screen. The key symbol pulsed once, as if it knew she was watching. "This is not normal," she said. "This is a signal." A curious discovery. Zini opened her old star charts. She looked again at the spiral symbol she had seen inside the human DNA. It looked just like the Vinsari Gate mark, a sign from an ancient world that had disappeared long ago. She compared the patterns. The shape inside Tomu's DNA was clearer, stronger, almost like it was complete. Then she remembered the old message from the Vinsari ruins: the gate will open when the song is complete. Was Tomu the song, or part of it? She checked the DNA music converter again. When she played Tomu's genetic pattern through it, the melody was different from other humans. It had more notes, and at the end of the song, a new sound appeared, a soft chime that made the walls of her ship vibrate gently. The sound touched something in the ship's memory core. It lit up an ancient signal, a set of coordinates far beyond the known galaxy. Impossible, Zini whispered. This boy's DNA is a map. A strange memory. Zini sat in silence, thinking, could humans have been created to carry this map? If so, who made them? And why had no other species ever shown this kind of design? She remembered the old stories told by the elders on her homeworld. Stories of a time when the universe was young, and beings of light seeded life across many planets. These stories were called myths, not science. But now, Zini wasn't so sure. What if those myths were real? She asked softly. What if humans were part of something much older, something that had been waiting to awaken? The boy who didn't know far below, on Earth, Tomu sat near his barn, feeding his animals. He looked at the stars above, as he did every night. He didn't know that someone from another world had just discovered something hidden deep inside him. He didn't know his DNA had released a signal across the stars. He only knew that sometimes he dreamed of lights, floating lights, strange symbols, and music that he could never remember clearly. He once told his mother about the dreams. She had smiled and said, "Maybe the stars are calling you." He laughed it off, but sometimes the dreams felt real. At night, as he looked up at the sky, he saw a faint flash of light, like a star moving across the sky. He thought nothing of it and went inside. Zini's choice back in her ship. Zini faced a hard decision. She had enough data to return to the Sorellan High Council. Her discovery would change everything they knew about humans. They would study it, test it, and possibly take over Earth to unlock the secrets. But Zini hesitated. If she returned now, Earth might never be the same again. Humans might lose their freedom, their future. The Council didn't always act with care when it came to science. They were wise, but sometimes too curious. She looked again at Tomu's face on her screen. He had been kind. He had smiled at her, helped her. He didn't know anything about symbols, songs, or maps. He was just living his life. And yet, he held a piece of something far greater. Zini stood up. "I will not report this yet," she said firmly. She decided to stay longer, to learn more, to protect the secret until she fully understood it. The stars could wait. For now, Earth needed time, and so did she. The night was calm, but Zini's mind was full of noise. She sat in the main room of her ship, eyes fixed on the glowing screen. The DNA pattern from Tomu had opened something, an ancient map, a signal, and maybe even a secret meant to stay hidden. But now that it had started, Zini knew she was not the only one who had noticed. Across deep space, strange machines had awakened. Old listening towers, forgotten for centuries, began to blink. In the dark parts of the galaxy, ships turned their scanners toward Earth. A signal had been released, and someone, or something, was listening. A visitor from the past. Next morning, Zini returned to Earth. She changed her shape again, appearing as a traveler, a quiet woman with soft clothes and gentle eyes. Her mission was simple: watch Tomu, learn more, and stay hidden. She walked back into the village and found him working in his garden. Tomu smiled when he saw her. "You again," he said kindly. "Back so soon?" Zini nodded. "I was passing through and thought I'd stop and say hello." He offered her water and a seat. They sat under a tree, the wind moving softly through the leaves. Zini watched him closely. He looked normal in every way, yet the energy in his DNA had released a signal that reached across space. "Have you ever felt different?" she asked. Gently. Tomu laughed. "Different? I don't know. I've always had strange dreams. Sometimes I feel things before they happen. My mother used to say I had an old soul. Zini tilted her head. And the dreams, what are they like? Tomu looked up at the sky. They're always the same. A dark place, stars moving fast, and a voice calling my name. But I never remember the words. Zini's heart beat faster. What do you think it means? She asked. Tomu shrugged. I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe I just think too much. Unseen. Ice back on the edge of the solar system, something stirred. A large black ship, silent and hidden, turned its attention toward Earth. It had no crew. It was not alive, but it had a mission. Long ago, it had been sent to watch for a signal. A very old signal, from before humans ever walked the Earth. Now, that signal had come. It moved forward, slow and quiet. Its eyes were cold sensors. Its heart was an old machine, filled with commands written in a forgotten language. Its target, the planet where the song had started, a strange connection. That evening, Tomu and Zini walked through the fields. She asked him simple questions about his life, what he liked, what he dreamed, and what he hoped for. Tomu spoke honestly. He talked about the land, the stars, and his wish to one day build something bigger than his farm. Then he stopped walking. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, he said with a small smile. It feels like I've known you forever. Zini looked at him. She didn't smile. Her mind was racing. She was starting to believe that the song in his DNA was not just information. It was alive in some way. It connected people. It could make others feel close, even if they were strangers. She wondered, was this how the old beings had shared knowledge? Not through machines, but through feelings, dreams, and music inside life itself? If so, then Tomu was more than just a boy. He was a carrier of ancient memory. Warning from the sky late that night, Zini returned to her ship. As she entered, the lights were blinking red. A known object detected, the ship said. Approaching. Fast, large, silent. Zini sat down quickly. A small window opened on her screen. It showed a shape in the distance, long, black, and still. No lights, no sound. But it was coming. She zoomed in. The design was strange, not from her people. The ship was not alive, but it smelled of something old. Zen I checked the energy signal. It matched the song from Tomu's DNA, but twisted, broken, like a piece torn from a bigger puzzle. Her voice shook. It's a listener. A listener was a machine left behind by the ancients. Its job was simple. Find the song, find the key, and report back. And now it was awake. A hidden chamber. Zini had to act quickly. If the listener reached Earth, it could scan the entire planet. If it found the song in others, it might send a call to places, unknown places that might not care if Earth lived or died. She needed more answers. And she believed those answers were in Tomu's body, deep inside the energy core of his DNA. Zini searched her ship's tools and found a device used only in emergencies, a memory reader, designed to see into the energy field of a living mind. She had one chance, the choice as Zini returned to Earth one last time that night. She stood near Tomu's farm and waited. When he came outside, surprised to see her again, she spoke clearly. Tomu, I need your help. Something is coming, something dangerous. He didn't ask why. He didn't laugh. He looked at her and saw truth in her eyes. What do I need to do? He asked. Zini showed him the device. This will let me see your deepest memory, not your brain, but something inside your very life force. It won't hurt, but it may feel strange. Tomu took a deep breath. Okay, he sat on the ground. Zini placed the small device on his forehead. Lights began to glow. Suddenly, Tomu's eyes closed. The memory of the stars in a flash of white light. Zini saw it, a tall being made of light, placing a small glowing orb inside a seed. That seed became life, and that life became human. She saw stars falling, worlds spinning, and ancient gates across the galaxy. Then she saw the gate again, the same symbol from the Vinsari ruins. The voice from long ago spoke. When the song is sung, the path shall open, but only through the willing heart. Zini pulled the device away, shocked. Her hands were shaking. Tomu opened his eyes slowly. "What did you see?" he asked. Zini whispered, "I saw the beginning of your kind. I saw the truth. You were made with purpose." Zini's hands trembled as she stepped back from the device. The memories she had seen inside Tomu's DNA were like a forgotten story, a secret hidden for thousands of years. She looked at Tomu, who sat quietly, his eyes still bright but filled with questions. "You were made with purpose," she said softly. "Not by accident, not by nature alone." Tomu blinked slowly. What kind of purpose? Zini hesitated. How much could she tell him? Could he understand the truth? She decided to share what she knew. Long ago, a race of beings who could travel the stars wanted to protect something very special. They placed a song inside your ancestors' DNA, code, a map, and a key. That song is part of you. Tomu's face showed a mix of wonder and fear. "So, I'm part of some ancient plan?" "Yes," Zini said. "But it's more than a plan. It is a gift. The song is alive. It connects you to the stars and to a power waiting to awaken." Tomu stood up, gripping his hands. "What happens now? What does this mean for me?" Zini looked out at the night sky, where the listener was getting closer every moment. "It means you must be ready. The listener has sensed the signal from your DNA. It is coming here to find the source, the song's origin." The listener approached us from above Earth. The listener moved through space like a shadow. It was a silent ship built for one purpose, to search for the song, and report its location to the ancients who had created it. Zini's ship detected the listener's arrival and sent a warning signal. "Into the village, we must prepare," Zini told Tomu. "The listener will skin everyone if it finds the song. We must hide the signal or the entire planet could be in danger." Tomu nodded. "But how do we hide something inside every human?" Zini thought quickly. "We can try to block the signal with your energy. Your DNA holds the key. If you can awaken the song inside you, maybe you can send a counter signal strong enough to hide it." Tomu looked confused. "Awaken the song?" "Yes, the song is more than music. It is a power inside you. But you must learn how to control it." Training the song, Zini stayed with Tomu in the village. Each day, they worked together, exploring the music hidden in his DNA. She taught him to listen closely to the sound patterns and to feel the energy that pulsed inside him. At first, Tomu struggled. The music was strange, not like any song he had heard before. It was deep and powerful, but also gentle. It spoke in a language of light and emotion, not words. Gradually, Tomu learned to hum the song. The sound vibrated softly around them. When he sang, plants seemed to sway, and the air felt warmer. One afternoon, while practicing near the river, Tomu saw a strange glow in the water. It was faint but clear, like the song was reaching beyond him, touching the world. Zini smiled. "You're doing it. The song is waking." A warning from the stars Tomu trained. The listener grew closer. Zini monitored the dark ship from her own vessel. The listener began scanning Earth's atmosphere, searching for the signal. It sent out waves of energy, probing every corner. Zini's heart raced. The listener was strong, built to find the song no matter what. She knew time was running out. One night, the listener sent a deep pulse through space. The pulse reached Earth and made every device on the planet flicker. Tomu felt the pulse in his chest. The song inside him stirred violently. Zini rushed to his side. "It's here. The listener is near." The first contact listener finally arrived in Earth's orbit. Its massive shadow covered the moon for a moment before it hovered. Silently, Zini sent a message to Earth's satellites, trying to warn the humans below. But the listener's technology was far beyond anything on Earth. It blocked all signals. Zini knew she had to act quickly. She returned to Tomu and told him, "You must use the song now. Send out the signal to hide the code inside every human." Tomu looked afraid but nodded. He closed his eyes and began to hum the ancient melody. The song rose from him, soft at first, then growing louder and stronger. The power of the song sound spread across the land, invisible but powerful. The song's energy wrapped around every human, hiding the code inside their DNA from the listener's scanners. Zini watched in awe as the listener's sensors started to fail. The dark ship flickered and moved back, confused by the invisible shield of sound. Tomu's voice grew stronger. He sang with all his heart, and the earth itself seemed to pulse with life. The listener tried to resist, sending out waves of energy, but the song held firm. At last, the listener turned away. It disappeared into space, defeated by the ancient music hidden inside humans. A new beginning. Zini and Tomu stood together under the stars. The night was calm again. "You saved your people," Zini said quietly. Tomu smiled, still amazed by the power inside him. "But this is only the beginning," Zini warned. "The song is awake now. The universe will watch. There are others who will come." Tomu looked at the sky, ready for whatever came next. He was no longer just a simple farm boy. He was a guardian of the song. The night air was cool and still. As Zini and Tomu stood together outside the village, the stars above twinkled. But Zini's mind was heavy with worry. The listener had retreated. But the universe was vast and the song inside Tomu was now awake. That meant others might come. Zini's eyes scanned the sky. "We have delayed the threat, but not ended it." Tomu looked up, his voice steady but filled with new strength. "Then we must prepare." A message from the past. Back on her ship, Zini replayed the memories she had seen inside Tomu's DNA. She searched for answers, hoping to find more about the creators of the song. Her ship's screen displayed images of ancient worlds, stargates, and beings made of light. Then a new memory appeared, one she had not noticed before. A message hidden deep in the song, waiting for someone to find it. It was a simple phrase. In an old language, "When the song awakens, the gate will open. Seek the light beyond the stars." Zini's heart raced. The gate, the Vensari gate, was real. It was not just a myth, and Tomu's DNA held the key to open it. Tomu's decision the next day. Zini shared her discovery with Tomu. She explained the gate and the ancient promise that came with the song. Tomu's eyes grew wide. "So, my song can open the gate?" "Yes," Zini said. "But the gate is hidden. You will need to find it." Tomu thought for a moment, then nodded firmly. "Then I will go. I will find the gate." Zini hesitated. She wanted to protect him, but she knew this was his path. "You will not be alone," she promised. "I will go with you." Preparation for the journey. Word of the song's awakening had spread beyond Earth. Hidden watchers in distant star systems stirred. Some were curious, others were dangerous. Zini and Tomu knew their journey would not be easy. They prepared supplies and studied old maps both from Earth and the star charts Zini had brought. Zini also taught Tomu more about the song. She showed him how to use it not only as a shield but as a guide. The melody could help him sense the gate's location. Tomu practiced every day, learning to listen to the song inside him like a compass pointing through the stars. The unexpected visitor. Own evening, while they were planning their journey, a sudden light appeared in the sky above the village. It was a small ship. Unlike Zini's or the listeners, it glowed softly, like a pearl floating in space. From the ship came a figure tall and thin, with silver skin and calm eyes. Zini recognized the features from the ancient memories. This visitor was one of the elders of being who had once helped create the song. The elder spoke with a gentle voice. "I have come to warn you. The awakening of the song has drawn attention. Not all who come will bring peace." Tomu and Zini listened carefully. "The gate is a door to great power," the elder said. "Many want to control it. You must be ready." A new thread. The elder told them about a group known as the Dark Seekers. These beings had searched the galaxy for the gate, hoping to use its power for control and conquest. The Dark Seekers were ruthless, and they had spies already on Earth. Zini's worry grew. The listener was only the first of many dangers. "We must move quickly," the elder said, "before the Dark Seekers arrive." The journey begins with the elder's guidance. Zini and Tomu prepared to leave Earth. The village gathered quietly to say goodbye. No one knew exactly where they were going, but everyone felt the importance of the journey. Tomu looked back at his home one last time, then stepped into the elder's ship. Zini followed, her heart full of hope and fear. The ship lifted off, soaring into the night sky, leaving Earth behind. Through the stars they traveled through space. Tomu used the song to guide them. The melody inside him grew clearer. It sang to him of places far beyond human knowledge, ancient planets, glowing gates, and hidden worlds. Zini watched in wonder as the song opened small windows in their path, showing glimpses of the past and future. But the journey was not easy. The Dark Seekers were close behind. Their ships appeared as shadows on the edge of their sensors. Zini prepared the ship's defenses, while Tomu focused on the song, sending out waves of energy to hide their path. The gate revealed that after many days of travel, the song led them to a distant star system. There, hidden in the light of a dying sun, they found the Vensari Gate. It was a massive structure of glowing stone and swirling energy. The gate pulsed with the same melody as Tomu's song. Tomu stepped forward, feeling the song inside him rise like a wave. With a deep breath, he sang. The gate responded. Light flowed from the stones, and a door slowly opened. Beyond the gate lay a path of stars, a journey to a new future. Tomu stood before the great Vensari Gate, his heart beating like a drum. The song inside him hummed with energy. Zini and the Elder watched in silence as the light around the gate grew brighter. This was the moment the song had been leading to. A new chapter for humanity was about to begin. The gate pulsed with warmth as Tomu stepped closer. He closed his eyes and began to hum. The ancient melody flowed from him, full of courage and hope. The swirling energy of the gate opened wider. Through it, they saw stars, planets, and glowing rivers of light. It was not just a place, it was a path to another realm. Zini whispered, "We are ready." Stepping through together, Tomu, Zini, and the Elder stepped into the gate. They felt weightless, like floating through a dream. The air sparkled. Strange shapes and symbols moved around them, echoing the tones of the song. Tomu looked around. "Where are we?" The Elder replied, "You are inside the path between stars, a space made by the ancients to protect what comes next." After a short time, they reached the end of the path. The gate opened into a new world, green fields, tall trees, and glowing towers in the sky. It was a forgotten planet, hidden from all maps. The Elder said, "This is Eliona, the world of the song. The city of memory." They walked into a shining city built from crystal and stone. Strange birds flew above, and soft music floated in the air. It was peaceful, but empty. Zini asked, "Where are the people?" The Elder replied, "Long ago, they left, but they left behind their knowledge, their music, and their dreams inside the city." They found a hall full of symbols. At the center was a seat, shaped like a star. The Elder looked at Tomu. "This place is waiting for the one who carries the song." Tomu hesitated. "Me? Yes, you carry the voice of Earth and the memory of the ancients. Sit, and the truth will be shown." The true purpose Tomu sat on. The star-shaped seat. Light surrounded him. The song inside his DNA burst into color and sound. Images filled the air of Earth, stars, and the long journey of life. The ancients had created the song not as a weapon or a secret, but as a promise. They had visited Earth long ago. They saw potential in humans, not in power, but in kindness, creativity, and courage. So they placed the song in human DNA to guide them when the time was right. Tomu's eyes filled with tears. It was never about control. It was about hope. Zini nodded. "You were chosen not because you are strong, but because you care." The dark arrived, but peace did not last. A warning came from the edge of the new world. The Dark Seekers had found them. Their ships entered orbit, black and sharp like knives in the sky. They followed the signal. Zini said. Tomu stood. He was not afraid. The song inside him was brighter now. "We must protect this place," he said. "Not just for us, but for all who will come." The final song, the Dark Seekers landed, spreading across the field. Their leader stepped forward, tall and cold, with eyes like shadows. "Give us the key," he said. "Give us the song." Tomu walked calmly to the center. "The song is not yours to take. It belongs to life, to peace, to those who protect, not destroy." The seeker raised his hand. But before he could speak again, Tomu began to sing. This time, the song was not just sound, it was light, wind, and energy. The melody swept across the field, touching every blade of grass, every tree, every stone. The ground itself joined them. Music! The Dark Seekers froze. Their ships began to shake. The song reached into their machines, finding the places where fear lived and replacing it with calm. One by one, the Seekers dropped their weapons. Their leader fell to his knees, his eyes softening. "This song," he whispered, "it is not war. It is peace. A new beginning. The battle never came. The song had won not by force, but by showing a better way." Zini stood beside Tomu, filled with pride. The elder smiled, his eyes glowing. "You have done what many could not," he said. "You showed the universe a different path." Tomu looked at the sky. "Now what happens?" The elder replied, "Now, we share the song. With Earth, with other worlds, the gate is open. The path of peace can begin. Return to Earth." Tomu and Zini returned to Earth, bringing stories, songs, and new knowledge. They taught others about the gate, the song, and the truth of human history. People listened. Slowly, the world began to change, not through power, but through understanding. Music filled cities. New thinkers rose, and people began to dream bigger. The stars were no longer far. They were waiting. Legacy years later, a child stood in the same village where Tomu had once lived. She looked up at the sky and hummed a tune her parents had taught her, a soft, ancient melody. The song was still alive, passed from heart to heart, and the gate, hidden in the stars, still shone brightly. Waiting for those ready to sing. The end.